500 million years ago. The microcontinent was situated near the equator. The Western scientists called it Kazakhstania. The structure with almost full list of elements from the Mendeleev's table inside its depth. What secrets does Kazakhstan soil have? How rich is it? Natural resources are the history of our land for thousands of years.
Today on the program, the most widespread metal on the Earth, Kazakhstan electrolysis plant, Kazakhstan aluminum in the global market. Only oxygen and silicon are more spread than this element, which is the first one among metals. Aluminum is a light paramagnetic and silver-white metal. Aluminum is known for its perfect physical and chemical properties, as well as low weight, softness, high ductility, electrical and heat conductivity, processing ductility, and ability to retain its shape. In addition, aluminum is rather attractive for having relatively cheap cost. This 13th element of the periodic table is resistant to corrosion and influence of some aggressive components, as it has the capacity to form durable oxide membranes which protect surface from further interaction. All of the listed properties have made aluminum one of the metal types with the highest demand. It can be used to form alloys with almost all metals. Aluminum is applied in construction, as well as production of profiles. It is irreplaceable in car industry, as well as production of pipelines, different canisters, and cables. Owing to its light weight, aluminum is widely used in production of airplane elements. That is why it was called an aviation metal. The most known alloys are duralumin, copper and magnesium, and silicon, silumin. Mirrors and cooking foil, all of these are also produced of the 13th element. The range of fields where aluminum is used is quite high, starting from production of cups, saucepans and spoons, and ending with elements for aerospace industry, production of solid fuel. It is also used in construction of rockets. This metal is widely applied today. The percentage of aluminum usage increases. There are more alloys, as aluminum is almost not used in its pure form, but in alloys. For example, in car industry, starting from discs and block cylinders. Thus, aluminum is the most widespread metal on the Earth and the most important raw material used in industry. The humankind has been acquainted with these elements near 200 years ago. For the first time, this metal was obtained by the Dutch physicist Hans Ørsted in 1825. The metal name was taken from the Latin word alumen, which means alum. Until the industrial technology of aluminum production was discovered, the metal had been more expensive than gold. In the middle of the 19th century, it was used to make a tire. The first item made of aluminum was an aluminum rattle made for the Crown Prince Louis Napoleon. The Emperor Napoleon III ordered to make aluminum tableware, which was served to Emperor and his honored guests only during ceremonial dinners, while other nobilities used tableware made of traditional precious metals such as gold and silver. The Earth's crust contains 8% of aluminum. At the same time, it does not occur in nature in its pure form, but rather in compounds that are difficult to dissolve. Aluminum is more often to be extracted from bauxites. The period from extraction of this element from the Earth's crust till smelting metal into bars consists of a chain of complicated processes. Bauxite was called in the name of Le Beau village in the south of France, where the first deposits were discovered. It was then when mineralogists got interested in the ore. In 1855, bauxite was demonstrated in the exhibition hall of Paris and called clay silver. Near 90% of the world reserves of bauxite are concentrated in the countries of the tropical and subtropical belts, and 73% of them are located in 5 countries: Guinea, Brazil, Jamaica, Australia, and India. The projected reserves of Kazakhstan are estimated at 800 million tons. The country holds the second place among CIS countries in terms of bauxite reserves after Russia. The largest deposit of bauxite in Kazakhstan is located in Kostanay region. Turgay Bauxite Mine Group is one of them. It belongs to Aluminum Kazakhstan GSC. Such valuable resources as bauxite and fire clay are mined here. During 60 years, almost 100 million tons of ore were extracted in the quarry. In other words, people processed over 1.5 billion cubic meters of ore mass here. And today, the volume of ore mass extracted annually reaches near 400,000 tons. The fact that Torgay land is rich with bauxite reserves was revealed in the 30s of the last century. In 1956, according to the decree of the USSR Ministers' Council, the Torgay bauxite deposits were included into the 5-year plan of the country national economy development. The first parts of bauxite were mined at the deposit in 1963. Externally, bauxite resembles clay, but often it is rocky or having middle or high indicators of density and solidity. And it doesn't dissolve in water. As for color, bauxite is usually brick red, ginger, or brown due to admixture of iron oxide. The structure of bauxite is quite diverse. They can be not only dense, but also porous and soft. And the main mass often contains round particles that are formed by metal oxides and sometimes alumina. And alumina is the main element which is used to produce aluminum. In Kazakhstan, alumina is produced in one place, at the Pavlodar aluminum plant. In spite of such name, as a matter of fact, it is the oldest complex to produce alumina, a powder-like product from which aluminum metal will be then produced. Since the moment it was opened in 1964, the plant has shipped all of the alumina to the Russian plants. In other words, there was no complex in Kazakhstan that produced aluminum. And during the years of independence, it was decided to construct a homeland electrolysis plant.
Мечта нашего президента была построить свой завод.
Our president had a dream to build a plant that could produce aluminum metal. And this dream came true.
Она осуществилась. В 2003 году было принято решение о строительстве завода.
In 2003, it was decided to build a plant, and in 2005, the first concrete was poured into the foundation of our plant. In 2007, the first bulk of aluminum was produced, and the first stage was launched. Then followed the second stage, and in 2010, the second stage was launched, with the plant reaching its projected capacity. The Kazakhstan electrolysis plant is the youngest metallurgical plant in the country. This innovative project was created under initiative of the country president, and the plant was built in a short period. According to the experts, for such a young state with relatively small population, it is an important step in the economic development of the country to have own production of the aluminum metal. The electrolysis plant is located in Pavlodar, not far away from the aluminum plant from where it obtains the main raw material for the production of aviation metal, alumina. The today's production capacity of the plant is 250,000 tons of metal per year. Almost 2 tons of alumina are needed to produce a ton of aluminum. The process of aviation metal production includes a complicated technological chain. The system of aviation metal production is based on the process of electrolysis. This huge facility can be called a heart of the plant. This is the electrolysis facility. It is not like facilities of other metallurgical plants producing copper and steel, for example. In this facility, which building is 1 kilometer long, there are 288 electrolytic cells that give birth to the desired metal. All of the cells have electrical connection. The constant voltage on electrodes of each cell is within the range of 4 volts, while electric current intensity is 327 kiloamperes. It is the electric current that is the main production power here. The system of work in this facility is automated at maximum. That is why there are not so many employees working in this facility. It is here where alumina is split into 2 components under influence of electric current: oxygen and aluminum.
В сутки мы получаем около 700 тонн алюминия.
We produce near 700 tons of primary aluminum every day. One electrolytic cell produces 2,500 tons of aluminum per day.
Основных устройств это анодные устройства, катодные и шины, которые...
The cell consists of 2 main devices. They're anode, cathode, and bars that drive electrical energy. The electrolytic cell allows to electrolyze cryolite solution. There is liquid aluminum in the bottom of the electrolytic cell, and above aluminum there is cryolite molten mass.
Алюминием, кролитовый расплав, кролит в расплаве.
Electric charge is applied through fired anodes that we also produce here at our plant. The whole process goes without breaks, 24 hours a day. It is stopped only in case of the full repair of the electrolytic cell is needed. And it happens only 1 time per 5 years, when the electrolytic cell operation is stopped to be fully repaired.
Один электролизер останавливается на капремонт.
In the cells, cryolite creates electrolytic environment under the temperature of 950 Celsius degrees. The cell bottom plays the role of a cathode, while anodes are coal blocks with 1.5 meter length and 0.5 meter width, placed into cryolite. One will think it looks like a huge hammer, so the plant employees are proud that the used components are produced in Kazakhstan. Several years ago, anodes needed for the electrolysis process were purchased in China. Today, Kazakhstan metallurgists can be proud of the own anode facility. This innovative project has been implemented owing to the state program of facilitated industrial and innovation development. Thus, imported components that are necessary for the production of aviation metal have been replaced by the homeland materials.
Зачем построили цех по производству электродов на нашем заводе? Очевидно, для того, чтобы обеспечить...
The reason why the facility for production of electrodes was built at our plant is obvious. It was necessary to provide homemade raw materials that are rodded anodes and to study the main technological process. Considering that over 65% of the raw materials used to produce anodes are made in Kazakhstan, it has a favorable impact on the economic situation in general. Electrodes or fired anodes are made of calcined petroleum coke and coal pitch. The calcined coke is used to prepare dry composition, to which coal pitch is added as a binding material. Then the so-called anode mass is pressed to form anode bars. These pipelines supply coke delivered here from the Pavlodar oil processing plant, as well as coal pitch from Temirtau. After anode mass is formed into such bars, they will be fired in furnaces. Here the fired anodes are created, and they are the most important material used to produce aluminum.
Печь состоит из 50 камер.
The furnace consists of 50 chambers, and there are 3 types of fire anode baking furnaces. Each of the furnaces includes 16 chambers. It takes 16 days to operate one cycle from uploading to unloading. The production capacity of the baking furnace is 136,000 tons of anodes per year. Every day we produce near 400 anodes. After being baked, the anodes are placed on anode holder. That's how the previously mentioned hammer appears, which will then go to the electrolytic cell. The life cycle of one electrode is almost 1 month. There is one more interesting moment. Within the production of 1 ton of aluminum, 250,000 cubic meters of different gases are emitted. That is why every electrolytic cell, no matter of its construction, is equipped with a gas collecting system, which helps to detect gases emitted within the electrolysis process and directs them into the gas purifying system. In the modern dry systems of gas purification, alumina is the very compound used to detect harmful fluoride compounds.
У нас газоочистная установка, установке используется сухая система очистки газа.
In our gas purifier, we have dry gas purification system. Gas is ingested from every electrolytic cell and filtered by means of back filter, to be then absorbed by fresh alumina.
Себе присоединяет ионы фторида, вредного вещества, которое выделяется при производстве.
It means that alumina attaches ions of fluoride, a harmful substance emitted during the electrolysis process.
Подается на производство. Как бы это экономит и
Thus, fluorinated alumina appears, and it goes to the production facility. This helps to spend less aluminum fluoride that we purchase abroad and also to purify gas emitted into the atmosphere.
выпуска в атмосферу.
This is how a complete cycle looks like. Before being used for the production of aluminum, alumina actually takes its part in the process of purifying gases that appear during the production process beforehand. Thus, in the result of the electrolytic process, raw aluminum, the temperature of which can reach 900 degrees, settles in the bottom of the electrolytic cell. The raw aluminum is extracted once a day by means of such crucible that looks like a huge pot. This crucible, with a capacity of 9 tons, can take aluminum from 3 electrolytic cells at once. Thus, every day the electrolytic facility gives out 48 crucibles. Then the giant pots with melted aluminum will be sent to the casting facility, where liquid metal will be poured into a special mixer through a special pocket. The main task in the process is to fill mixer to the needed volume, which is 60 tons.
Заливается, добавляется флюс.
The metal is poured, then flux is added, and the substance is cooled down, settled, and unloaded. Then slag is taken out, and some part of it is selected for probes.
Пробы.
In other words, in these mixers, aluminum is purified. Kazakhstan electrolysis plant is equipped with big systems that enable to control the whole process of aluminum production on screen. In addition, each stage of this complicated cycle is constantly supervised by the employees of the central plant laboratory. Here the experts study probes and delivered raw materials, as well as substances extracted at every stage of the production. The final products are also thoroughly checked.
Центральная заводская лаборатория, отдел технического контроля.
The central plant laboratory, including technical supervisors, consists of 3 units that provide physical control, chemical control, and control over anode production.
Входит отдел технического контроля.
There is also a unit of technical control. The experts working in the unit of chemical control used methods of chemical analysis to analyze the raw materials, intermediate and final products. The unit of physical control methods is responsible for analyzing of the final products. In particular, this is a primary aluminum, and this is liquid aluminum, and this is intermediate joint. Finally, the unit for control over anode production is responsible for control and analysis of the products received from the anode unit, including coke, pitch, anodes, or in other words, carbonic materials.
То есть углеродистый материал.
And the unit for technical control selects probes and issues certificates on the final products.
Готовой продукции.
All of the raw materials delivered to the electrolysis plant is checked in the unit for chemical control. The main components needed for the production of aluminum are alumina, which we receive from the Aluminum Kazakhstan GSC, as well as cryolite and aluminum fluoride. Every week, our laboratory obtains alumina probes, in which we define such admixtures as silicon dioxide, iron oxide, some of potassium oxide, and sodium oxide, as well as moisture level. The unit of physical control is an important section of the central plant laboratory. It is the place where the quality of final products is checked. This method of control is based on the spectral analysis method. Here the experts study over 10 elements, including primary aluminum. It is here where the probes from casting unit are brought. The probes are taken right from the mixer.
Работники отдела технического контроля проводят отбор проб. Эти пробы
Our specialists of the unit for technical control select probes.
спектрометр.
These probes are brought here into the laboratory, where experts check them by means of spectrometer and issue results.
Дают,
Based on these results, the unit for technical control grants right to cast further or take improvement measures.
какие-то мероприятия по улучшению.
However, the results of analysis of the final products received at the Kazakhstan electrolysis plant usually meet the quality standards, because the experts thoroughly check the intermediate process within the production chain. Let's take 288 electrolytic cells, for example. The laboratory specialists take probes of raw aluminum from each electrolytic cell separately. Moreover, the most complicated analyses are taken very quickly, during 30 minutes. Thus, after all laboratory-based works are done and the unit for technical control issues the corresponding certificate, a conveyor is operated in the casting unit and pouring of liquid primary aluminum begins.
В конвейера жидкий металл поступает через леточный узел миксера, поступает через
To conveyor, the liquid metal goes through a mixer line,
и заливает.
then through metal track, and is poured into casting forms of the conveyor through a spreading wheel.
Далее происходит
Then metal is cooled down. This is the first stage, called crystallization.
то есть
It means that metal is turned from liquid to solid state.
твердое. Вторая стадия уже полное охлаждение. Затем
The second stage is a total cool down, followed by pile stacking, packaging, and weighing. Finally, the final products are shipped to the warehouse.
далее отправляется на склад готовой продукции.
Metallurgists call these aluminum bars as pigs. The weight of each of them is 20 kilograms. Every day, these lines give 700 tons of finished product. This is Kazakhstan aluminum, for production of which the homeland raw material is used. Today, the Kazakhstan electrolysis plant is one of the youngest and at the same time most advanced production facilities in the country. The plant enters the list of the leaders in the aluminum market. 90% of Kazakhstan aviation metal goes for export. Consumers of the primary aluminum are plants of Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Uzbekistan, as well as the far abroad, Italy, Brazil, Montenegro, Bulgaria, and Turkey. For a modern person, it is difficult to imagine that 150 years ago, aluminum was more expensive than precious metals. Today, the 13th element is the second in the world in terms of consumption after steel. According to experts, during this century, the demand for this light and ductile material will continue to grow. Dynamic development of car manufacturing, space exploration, urban rapid growth, all these and many other trends will help aluminum to strengthen its leading position as the most important metal for development of humanity in the 21st century.